Wait. Oh, wait, let me shut my.
Okay, I'm going to start now. People will be ding-donging their way in, and we'll let them in as well as we can. I am Marcia Champ, and I'm very happy to welcome all of you to one of our 2020 Summer Professional Development events. And of course, as you know, it's sponsored by CATESOL, and we have a lot to do to plan and prepare for lessons that we're doing remotely, more and more so since March, I guess it is, right? So here's our opportunity to learn about Zoom and how to do it as a teacher. We'll do some learning and practicing, listening and responding, meeting and greeting. So that's why the chat panel, I thought it would be really nice if you could just enter your name, your school, location, and that way we'll find out what new friends we have. I don't know about you, but I really miss seeing people. And being in there, you know, like sort of in the realm of being able to say hello and shake hands with people and maybe even give them a hug. I don't know about you, but do you miss that? Anybody else miss that?
Yes.
Yes.
So I'm going to look at you, and we'll look at each other in the face, I guess. Is that what we'll do here on our screen faces? Okay, so how are you feeling today? Show me your face. Are you feeling okay? Are you glad you're here?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
great. Good to see everybody's faces here. And we are going to talk about some Zoom basics, really basic stuff, because not everybody starts in the same place or ends up in the same place, but we do want to be able to help our students who may be of varying abilities, right? Of varying abilities in terms of their English, varying abilities in terms of their technology. And we too, as teachers, may have more or less experience using different platforms, different applications, different thingy things, technological kinds of things that we're now being asked to do with our students. Wait, let me check with anybody. Is anybody going back to the classroom, like face to face? Anybody doing that?
We're
Let me
scheduled
see.
to
Show
go
me
back
with your
the
heads.
21st of September. They haven't told us otherwise yet.
Oh, and some of you don't even know yet. So, but a lot of you are going this way and that way, which means probably not. Yeah. Okay. Let's take a look at a couple of questions about you. So if you don't mind, would you talk about or type different your answers to, well, what type of advice are you using right now? And what kind of students do you teach? And what other question I had? And what's your experience using Zoom? Do you see the poll?
Yeah.
Does it show up in front of you?
Yes.
Okay, good. Then you can just go through that.
Oh, it was there and it's gone now.
Is it gone? It's not gone from my screen. So maybe it's in another window on your screen. Are you able to see it? Maybe you can find it.
I've clicked submit and it isn't taking it.
So it could click submit, but I haven't ended the poll yet.
Well, scroll down. There's more than just the first two questions.
So there's 3 questions.
Thank you.
The first question is, what type of device are you using now? Computer, tablet, or phone? And the second one is, what type of students do you teach? And you can check more than one if you wish. K through 12, adult ed, international English program, college, university, non-credit community college, credit community college, workplace employees, maybe you're doing some tutoring, or maybe you're not teaching at all, or you have some other kind of way. And then the third question was, what's your experience with Zoom? I've never used Zoom. It's my first time. I've used Zoom as a participant, but not as a presenter. I've attended a Zoom coaching session. I've accessed Zoom tutorials and or videos. I've hosted or taught 1 to 5 sessions with students or participants using Zoom. I've hosted or taught 6 or more sessions using Zoom. I can teach others to use Zoom. I'm nervous about using Zoom to teach my students. I'm excited to use Zoom to teach my students. So you can check 1 or more of these choices. Okay, does that give you enough time? I'm sorry, I misspelled nervous. Maybe I was nervous. No, I was nervouser. Nervouser. Let's see. All done? Who needs more time? Anybody need more time?
No.
We're good? Okay, we're going to end this poll and see what the folks here have entered. Ready? So let's see. The answers I see are, for the first question, what type of device are you using right now? We have 94% of you are on a computer. 2% of you, no, 6%, that's 2 people, are on a tablet, and none of you are using your phone right now. Okay. And let's go to number 2. Number 2 says, well, what type of students do you teach? And we don't have any K-12 teachers at this moment. A lot of adult ed, 58%. A couple of IEPs, some, that's 3, and 5 college or universities, 6 non-credit community college, 5 credit community college, 1 workplace employee, 4 2Ts. Okay, so the most is adult ed, 21 out of 36 so far. And how about number 3? Only 1 person says it's your first time using Zoom, and 17% say I've used Zoom as a participant but not as a presenter. 17 says I have attended a Zoom coaching session. 33% say I've accessed Zoom tutorials and or videos. 25% say I've hosted 1 to 5 sessions with students or participants using Zoom. 47, almost half, 47% of you say I've hosted or taught 6 or more sessions. Okay, you guys are ready to teach. Okay, I can leave now. Bye.
Don't go.
Oh, don't go? Okay. So how many of you think that you can teach Zoom? Yes, 22% of you can teach Zoom, and so you're here to help me. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Okay, 17% of you say you feel nervous about using Zoom to teach your students. 22% of you say that you're excited to use Zoom. Nobody else said anything between those feelings of nervousness and excitedness. But okay, great. Thank you very, very much. Let's see. Now I pressed another button and maybe that shows up on your computer. Does that show up on your computer?
Yes.
You see that? Okay.
Yes.
So yeah, okay, so it shows you 90%, 94% of you using computer, most of you are adult ed, or the plural, 58%. And that a whole bunch of you have already hosted sessions. So this will be old hat for you, maybe. But that's okay, we all wear more than 1 hat, don't we? Okay, so here's my agenda, but it'll vary and we may go faster or more slowly depending on how you feel about going through it. First, I wanted to talk about just as a participant, participating as an attendee. So you imagine this is what your students will go through. So we're not going to talk about it from the host position, but from the participant position. I want to tell you that I'm using a Mac, but I don't think it's any different on a Windows computer as far as I can tell. And I also want to show you what it's like on an iPhone. Now I know none of you, 0 of you said that you were using a phone, right? However, what do you think about your students? Do any of you do you think your students use phones?
Phones, a lot
Yeah.
of phones.
Yeah.
Probably there are a lot of phones out there, more than you would imagine. Maybe you're finding out as you teach them. And it's important to know what theirs looks like for a couple of reasons. Obviously, because when you know what they're looking at, you get a better idea of how you can structure visually some of the things that you're doing, right? Because there's a smaller real estate on this little thing, and they may look at it this way because they can scroll up. If you see some text, then you'll have bigger font than if you're going this way. But another thing is that sometimes the buttons are in different places, and there are some functions that are available on the computer that are not on the iPhone. So those are things I will show you pictures of. And if you do have your phone with you, you may also, as I show you those pictures, you can sort of look on your own and see. How many of you have downloaded the Zoom app for your phone? Just so that maybe at some point you can see what it looks like. Because I would recommend that you do
I
that,
have.
since,
Yes.
as you know, a lot of our students will be using phones. All right, so
Yeah.
then after talking about just as a participant, thinking from the student's point of view, what are they looking at? Because you may need to help your students through the whole action of how to participate, right? And then the other part will be as a host. So as a host, as a teacher, you will be the host or the workshop leader. You're the presenter. You have to select some functions. We'll talk about some basic functions for teaching. I'll talk to you about creating an account to become a host if you have not already done that before. How you schedule a meeting and how you edit your profile, and then how you decide on some Zoom settings for your class. Okay, does that sound reasonable?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, all right. If you fall asleep, that's okay. I won't know. You can just turn your camera off. Ha ha. Let's see. There's some more people coming in. Oh, those late people. Okay, let me let them in. Welcome, welcome. Come on in if you'd like to enter your name and where you teach and what your location is. We'll be happy to hear from you. Okay, so what is the next poll? The next poll is the one that is, let's see if I can make this poll go away, and then I can go to find my other one. How do I do that? Where is that little thing? I pick this up and then go here, this one. Okay, so this question is about breakouts. So what's your experience using breakout rooms? I've never been in a Zoom breakout room before, or I've spoken with others in a Zoom breakout, or I've organized breakouts as a host teacher, but I'm not comfortable doing it yet, or I'm very comfortable organizing breakout groups. What's that? Let's just see how we are today in our group. Don't be shy. Take a vote. All right, I'm going to close the poll in 3, 2, 1. All right, ending the poll now. Let's see what we've got. A few people have never been in a breakout room, 7 of you. Okay, so I welcome you to our first experience here. And some of you, 36% of you say that you have been in a breakout room and you've spoken with other people in a breakout. 23% of you say, yeah, I've organized breakouts, not quite comfortable yet. And 26% of you say, yep, I'm comfortable. I know how to do that. I can organize them. And I'm going to help Marsha in this thing. Okay, right. Oh, they didn't say that part, but we can assume, right? All right, stop sharing. And then let's find out what we're going to do. We're going to put you in a breakout room, but before that, I'll just let you know what breakout rooms are, okay? So breakout is when the host creates these little small groups, just like you do in a real classroom, and you say, okay, you guys go together, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And then participants receive an invitation on your screen to join a breakout room. And so it'll ask you to join, and then you will just click join. If you click later, that means, well, I don't want to join right now because of whatever reason, and then you can join later on. Okay. But I'd like you to just go ahead and click join when you get it. In the breakout room, everyone has a different meaning than everyone at this moment. So everyone at this moment means all of us in this big room together in this whole Zoom session. But when you go into your Zoom breakout, then everyone means only the people in that breakout. So if there are 5 people, then those 5. If there are 3 people, then everyone meets just those 3 people. And within the breakout room, you can mute yourself or unmute your mic. You can also stop your video, and you can text chat. When you are in your breakout room, you cannot see or hear anyone outside your breakout. So it's not like when you're in the regular classroom and you can sort of like, you have your little huddle here and you're working with your own little group, but you can turn around and you can know that the other groups behind you are going buzz, buzz, buzz. Also, it means as a teacher, you can't kind of like mosey around and see everybody and hear everybody. You have to go into each room one by one. And when the teacher goes into each room, then the teacher can only be in that room with that particular group, and then they have to leave that breakout, and then they have to go into another breakout, right? So it's very separate, and that's how it's different from the face-to-face class. And I'll give you a 60-second warning to end your group work and return to the main session. It will appear on your screen that you'll have a certain amount of time before you come back. You can also ask for help when you are in a breakout, and this is good to let your students know, because sometimes they need clarification or they need help with something. Or sometimes, like in a session like this, somebody might have a burning question that can't wait until later, or you just really want to know how to do something. And then you can click the icon that has a question mark, and it says ask for help. And then the host, which in this case would be me, I will receive a message on my screen, and then I will answer it by going into it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so here's what I'm going to do right now. First of all, I'm going to type in the chat window, and if you don't see your chat yet, could you look at the bottom of your screen, and in the middle, there'll be something green that says share screen. To the left of it, there's a chat bubble. So when you click on that chat bubble, then you should get a chat window. It may automatically show up on the right side, or it may come smack in the middle, and then you have to drag it over to the side if you don't want it to cover up what is appearing on your screen. Got that? Okay, so you can see a lot of you have already been in the chat. You already know how to chat. I mean, chatting is like, today, chatting is like doing good. You need to know how to do that. And people have already written their names in there. All right, so most people have written to everyone, and it'll say from so-and-so to everyone. So all of us can read your name and where you're from or where you teach or something like that. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to type into the chat window, or actually I'm copying and pasting my Google Doc, and you will be able to see it in just a moment. Okay, so I'm going to type that in here to everyone. And when you get into your breakout room, then you will greet your fellow wannabe Zoom using teachers, and you will discuss the question, what do you want, need, or hope to do to learn about? I mean, what do you hope to learn about that will help you teach your ESL students? All right, so that's what you're going to do. And then one of your members shall volunteer, or you shall appoint as you wish, to be the recorder. All right, so in your group, as you introduce yourselves to each other, somebody can say, okay, I'll be the recorder. And that person will go to the link that I sent, which is the Google form, and enter the 3 most important things that you want to learn today about Zoom to help you and your students. You have any questions before I put you in breakouts? Okay, is that clear? Pretty clear? All right, let's do this. There'll be, how about if I do 4 or 5 people? Can I do that? Let's give that a try. Is that too many? Like 3 or 4? 4 or 5, 6 or 7? No, maybe that's too many. How about 3 or 4? I'll do that.
4.
Okay.
4 is good.
4's
Okay,
good.
here we go. Hey Siri,
Hmm?
timer for 4 minutes.
Okay. Your timer is set for 54 minutes.
Set timer for 4 minutes.
A timer is already running. Would you like to? Okay. The timer is now running for 4 minutes.
Marcia,
Yes.
can you hear me? How was I supposed to go to the breakout room?
There should be a link that says join. Do you see one that says you're invited to breakout room number 2 or 3 and then it says join?
No,
Did you get one of those?
no, I think I just have really basic, like.
Okay, hang on a second. What's your name, please?
Jennifer Van Heining.
Okay, let's see if I can find you and then I'll put you in with somebody, okay? Hang on a second.
Thanks.
Oh, and also some people just walked in. Okay, so Jennifer, it says you were invited to a breakout room, but you didn't go. So how about I see if I can make it,
Sorry.
let's see. How can I make you go in there? I can move you to another room, but I didn't want to move you. I just want to, you don't have anything on your screen that says you can join?
No, I'm a pretty like frustrated Zoom user. Like I'm not ever going to use Zoom again. I have such trouble.
Okay, so do you have a computer or do you have
I have the compute. I have a computer, and it actually, when I've used it on my phone, it works a ton better, like 100% better.
do you use a Windows or a Mac?
A Windows.
Okay, so I'm not that familiar with the Windows. When you're on your, do you have more than one screen?
No.
No, I don't mean, do you have more than one window on your screen open?
I have the chat open, the chat box.
Okay,
open.
can you move the chat aside and see whether that is covering up your join button?
Let's see. Oh, I'm not sure.
Sometimes it happens that a window gets on top of another.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't see anything. My window like sometimes disappears. Like, and I can hear things going on, but I can't get back to the picture. Like I use it in a browser. Maybe I should use it in an app.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So in the first part of my lecture, I'm going to talk about that. Okay.
Okay.
So maybe that's the problem. You should be using the Zoom app.
Okay.
Okay. Let's go and see if anybody needs help in their Zoom room, and then I'll come back to you. Okay.
I think I'll sign out and try the app.
Students who are on the computer can annotate online, but it's a different way of doing it on the phone. They have to press.
Is Laura Grossman?
There's definitely some functionality differences with the phone, but I mean, yeah. That I've been teaching.
I'm trying to see what it looks like on the phone. It's Laura.
Okay.
Yeah, from Zoom issues, so that's been really satisfying. But yeah, there's definitely a few differences between which is what I'm always trying to find out, like what's the easiest way to approach that. But I find that the students who are coming in class on their phone actually know a lot more about their phones, you know, because that's what they use for everything.
I actually want to know how to screen share with more than one document open. I haven't been able to get that done yet.
Oh yeah, flipping through between.
Yeah.
It's I think we got like 16 seconds yet. You have to, I think it's like you go back to the share button and it'll say like new share, and then you can toggle. It'll show you the share screen.
That's the problem. I can't get it to work for me. That's
I think we're out.
I think I just shared it, so I think we went there.
Thank you.
Hello, are you back?
Yes.
We're back.
Okay, looks like people are coming back into the big room. All right, so we had 16 groups, and I should have 16 responses, but I don't have 16 responses on my Google form. What happened?
Oh, okay.
Do we have some delinquent groups?
Yes, I didn't type.
Okay, so there's someone who is supposed to do something. What were they supposed to do?
Type.
Type what?
The recorder.
The reporter's supposed to do what?
The recorder.
Type the 3 most important things that you want to learn today about Zoom and teaching ESL students, right? Okay, well, okay, so since that what we're going to do now is I'm going to share with you what has been written, just so you can see. So I'm going to share with you the form where we have some answers to, or some responses, okay? So how to find the Zoom breakout and work with group members on an interactive project in the Zoom breakout room. Learn how to set up student breakout rooms, co-share with students. How does a student in the breakout room share a worksheet or something to work on? How do we teach our students how to troubleshoot problems when they're having technology, with technology, when they're distance learning? What is a good strategy for using Zoom? Polls and breakout rooms. How does the teacher share screen, main session, breakout room? We'd like to see screenshots of breakout room invitations or different devices. Why can't students sometimes see them? Where do they hide? Breakout rooms, how to host in general. How to help students troubleshoot, learning all the tricks on how to host. How does it look different on a phone? Does the Google form go to you? How does, so the answer to that is yes, it goes to me because I'm the owner of the Google form. So I found it right here. How does the teacher make sure that the students in the break room are on task? How do we help direct low-level students when using a phone? How to help students with technical difficulties? 2 out of 3 have not taught with Zoom. Okay, 2 out of 3 of have not, of us maybe, have not taught with Zoom yet. So learning how to use Zoom from scratch and also how to show additional camera information. Viewing Zoom on iPhones, using the whiteboard on Zoom. Sorry, we were chatting. Yeah, I got that. How to use Zoom basics, how to use extra features in breakout rooms, need interactive activities that can be done in breakout rooms. Okay, well, thank you very much for your comments. And guess what? I have the answers to some of those questions. And I would like to share with you some of my knowledge and experience. And I'm sure that we have others in the room who have that experience or even more that can give us some tips too. So first we'll start about what it's like participating in a meeting, because this is what students have to do to begin with. So the first time that you do this, you may be prompted to download the Zoom app to your computer. And I highly recommend that you do this. Somebody in this group was having trouble and said they were trying to just do it in the browser. And I highly recommend that you download the app, whether you're using it on your mobile device or in your on your computer. You are best to do that. So if you type into the address bar zoom.us, and as I said, the Zoom app is really good to use. So the first time you might be prompted to download the Zoom app to your computer or your mobile device. So this one is what it looks like when you do it from your computer. Then it'll ask you get invited to join a meeting. You can click the join a meeting link, and then it will ask you, can I open this in the Zoom app? And then you should always say yes. Yes, you should always agree with that, because the Zoom app is going to be a lot better than mix up with all the other stuff that is possible in your browser or your IE browser, Safari, whatever your browser is. Zoom app is better. Click on join a meeting. Okay, so at this point, could I ask you all to mute your device, if you know how to do that? Susan Schroeder, particularly, walking around. There's a lot of noise, and might be really nice outdoors, but probably better for us to hear less of that at this moment. Thank you. Okay, so when you go to the Zoom and you get your Zoom app, and you need to enter a meeting, one of the things might be that you have to enter the meeting ID and your name. So the meeting ID will usually be this 10-digit number, and you enter that, and then also you type in your name, and then you click the join button. And when you do that, you know, you'll get some other windows. Now, sometimes you will be able to see in the cache, in the things that it's saved, some meetings that you've joined before. So if you're returning to a room that you have used before, for example, you're a treasurer and every week there's a treasurer's meeting and you're always going to the same room, then you might be able to see that room listed and find the meeting ID listed, so you just have to click on it. So in that case, you can just click on it instead of typing in information. Now the other way is, alternative, you might receive a link, a complete link in an email or a text message that allows you to access the Zoom meeting without entering a meeting ID or password. I mean, maybe in this case, when I sent out the invitations to you, there was a link already, and perhaps you just clicked on that and it brought everything up automatically for you. You didn't have to go through so many steps. But sometimes it's good to know how to do this, because sometimes there's something missing with that link, like the link got broken. And so if you go back to your email, it will show you the ID number, and if necessary, it'll show you a password, and you may need to enter all of those things. Now, if the meeting is being recorded, then you'll get a message like this: the meeting's being recorded. And if you get that notification, then you have your option to leave the meeting because you don't want to be there, or continue and you know that you're being recorded. Now, when you enter the Zoom room, here's a possibility. Sometimes you see a black screen, all right? And the black screen may have a name in it. Like in this case, it says Marja Chan, and it's a black screen. All right, so that's a possibility. And there's also, down in the lower bottom, on the lower left bottom of the screen, you should be familiar with these two icons. One of them is the microphone, and it will either say mute or unmute. Now this one says unmute, and this one says, then right next to it says start video. So there's a red slash through the microphone, and that means the mic is muted. It is off. So instead of saying turn it on, it says unmute. All right, so we're learning to use new vocabulary as we are using video interfaces. Instead of saying turn on your mic, it says unmute. Now notice here that there is a red slash through the video, which means that the video camera is off. So these are toggles, and that's basically on and off, on and off, on and off for your microphone, on and off for your video. Now, sometimes you'll see a profile picture, okay? So if the person that you are teaching or looking at has entered a profile photo, that's what will appear, not just the black screen, right? So that one will appear. Now, how about the name? You can edit your name. So I'd like you all to take a look at your own screen. And if you click on participants, you will see a list of, well, currently 55 people. And one of them is going to be your name. Do you recognize it? Can you find it? Well, I'm in here as CATESOL organization. And so when I came in as CATESOL organization, I thought, well, one of the things to do is I could add my name to CATESOL organization. So I found my name, or the login that I'm using today at this meeting, and I went all the way over to the right with my pointer. So my mouse pointer went all the way to the right, and then as I did that, I could hover over what I saw here, which is the More button. So there's a More button. Do you see a More button on yours? Because if you see a More button, if you click on it, if you click on the drop-down arrow, you should be able to see something that says Rename. Do you see that? Nod your head or shake your head, nod your head. Okay, good. All right, if you see that, then you're in the right place for you to rename. Now, why is that important? Because sometimes at different institutions, they make you log in with your, say, your email. And then your email may not be exactly your name. I mean, at Mission College, it's my name. It's my Marsha.Chan. So it's pretty easily understood. But some places have truncated names or numbers or something like that. And you wouldn't want your friends and especially your students to think that you are just a number. So you would type your correct name or your complete name or whatever name your students should call you. You can type it in there. How about your profile picture? Okay, so the same drop-down arrow just below it is the one that says Edit Profile Picture. So when you click on that, you can click Change Picture, and then you can upload a picture from your computer. How many of you have a picture in your profile? So some of you are up and down, yes, I got one, and some of you are going, no, and somebody going, oh, I don't know, do I have a picture or not? If it shows up black, then you don't have a picture. Okay, so if you'd like to, and I certainly hope that as a teacher, you will show your picture to your students, because it's already bad enough for us not to, like be able to see and feel and hear our students close up, but at least they can see a picture of you. Now, there is a slider that goes from the left to the right, and you can use this slider to choose and adjust what part of your picture to display as your profile. Today, I made a new image. Normally, this image is the CATESOL logo, but I decided that I would add my picture to it, so I created a whole new image, and then I stuck it in here, and I'll put it up until the end of this session, and then I'll pull it down, protect the other one. So it can be changed anytime. So you might want to change your picture as you go through the seasons, or as maybe when the salons open up and you get to trim your hair. I don't know about you, but some of us have hair that's longer than usual. Anyway, you've got the save button. That's what you do when you are satisfied with the size of what you're showing, okay? Now, what do? We go from picture to video by starting the video. That's really easy. It just says start video. So when there is a red X through it, a red line, a slash through it, that means it's off. So when you click it, then it will start the camera, and it'll turn your camera on. And then it goes from your profile picture, like this one is my profile picture, and it'll go to an image that I took at some other time where the video is on. You can also see that there's a control, lower left, always be familiar with the lower left, that's the microphone. And if it's red and has a red slash through it, it means the microphone is off. And if you'd like to turn it on, you need to press it where it says unmute. You will press it, it will turn on the mic. Here we can see that the video camera is on. How do we know that? 1, there's no red slash through it. 2, it says stop video, which means to stop the video, click here, okay? And if you do that, then the red slash will come on. So it's a toggle, it's on and off. All right, now, how do we get our going from silence to sound? Well, we unmute so that it's possible for the camera to be on, but nobody can hear you because those are two separate channels, right? So I can be using my microphone, and if you can't hear me because you can see me moving my mouth but no sound coming out, it's probably because my mic is muted, right? So you have to be ready to move or to handle, to manage these two basic buttons for the seeing the video and hearing the sound. And the students need to be taught that if they don't already know how to, where to find those icons and how to use them. All right, so when it's got the red slash through it, it gives you the option to unmute. When it looks like this without a slash, it gives you the option to mute or turn off, right? So especially if you're working with low-level students, these are baby steps that you should take to help them through it. Okay, so how about seeing people in this Zoom room? There are two views. One is called the gallery view, and that's where participants are displayed in a grid of small video windows, and the number of cells or grids depends on the size of your screen. All right, so it could be 9 or 16, 25 or 36 or 49, you could do the math, right? So it depends on the size of your screen, how many squares of people show up on your screen. And that's the gallery view. The speaker view. So if you've got 3 participants, then the active speaker is displayed in the large video window. So who's the active speaker? The one who's blabbing the most. That's me right now, right? So if you're looking at it in speaker view, then probably my picture is the biggest and the other people have smaller windows. And then somebody else starts speaking, and then it will automatically go to that person who is the most active, right? So that's generally what happens. It doesn't always work that way, but that's the way it's supposed to work, and that's the way it works, I've found, most of the time. There is an option that you can pin a video to disable the active speaker and make one participant always remaining in the large video window. So for example, when you're teaching a class and people have their audio on, sometimes students want to watch their teacher present, pronounce, explain, and they want the teacher to be in the big window all of the time and not whenever some other people just blurt out their questions or ask questions. They don't want their screens to come in. So in that case, you can teach them how to pin the video. So if you go to the top of your screen and you hover over, say, the teacher's video or the speaker's video, then you can click it, and from the menu, you can choose pin video. Are you with me? Got it? So this is like if you go to the top of your screen and you hover over just like in this case, my video, you should be able to hover it, and then you'll be able to see something that says pin video. And you can also take it and pin somebody else's video there because you really like to look at them. That's fine. So that's something to do, and you can also undo it. So what about looking at the views? Let's take an example of speaker view. So in speaker view, one speaker's picture or video will display in the middle, right, and filling up the big black screens. And the other participants' videos will show in smaller size. And if you see at the top here, they're in a row, and you can't possibly see everybody in the class. You can see the rest of the people by clicking on the blue arrow to the right. Okay, so do you see any arrows at the top of your screen? If you see some arrows at the top of your screen, you should be able to scroll through and see other classmates. Is that working out for you? You'll be able to see others by pressing the arrow. And then, you know, once you press right, you should be able to also press left and see some more people, right? And if you notice, I just wanted to show you, pay attention to the icons on the lower left, the ones that are most common for your speaking and viewing enjoyment, the mute, unmute, the start and stop video. So what does it look for gallery view? It could look like this. This is a 5 by 5 grid, and that shows the first, well, it shows 25 people. I don't know exactly how it chooses who's in front. And again, you should see a blue arrow if there are more than can show on one screen. So in this example, it shows 1 of 2. So that means that when I press on the blue icon to the right, the arrow, it will show another screen's worth of people. Make sense? All right, so again, I'm going to show you just the icons. To change views, you can click on the desired icon at the top right of your screen. So you see it's going to say, show you here. To change from gallery to speaker view, you're going to click this icon. How do you know it's a speaker? Well, you see there's one big square, and then there are 3 little squares at the top. So that means when you click this button, it'll turn to speaker view. Whereas on the right side, it shows you a grid of 3 by 3. That will be gallery view. That means you're in speaker, and now you want to go to gallery view, so you click on that one, and that will show you the gallery, right? Okay, let's do something fun. Let's show our video. Can I see your face? Can you show me your faces and we can take a picture? Do you mind if we do that? If you don't mind, turn yourself on. Oh, I love to see you all together. All right, and you know what? On my screen, I'm seeing 5 by 5. I'm seeing 5 by 5, and I'm seeing 3 pages worth of it. Woo, that's a lot of folks. Yeah. How about you? I don't know if you have the same screen size or whether your screen size is different. Okay, so we've got different sizes of screens, and I'm sure that anybody who is looking on a phone or another smaller than full-size Mac, which I'm looking at now, that you'll find a smaller number of grids on each of the pages. So I can tell from looking in the gallery view that some of you have your videos on and some of you don't have your videos on, and we'll talk about when and why and what all that means as we go together. Okay, so we did our picture taking, and I want to show you about non-verbal feedback, digital non-verbal feedback. So I'm going to show you some screens. And right now I'm going to show you that if you click on your participants button, can you see at the bottom, there's a participants button. If you click on that, you should see a little screen that, a panel, okay, it'll be your participants panel. And you should see a whole bunch of names, and those names are all of us participants here. And then we all, on the bottom of it, it'll have different icons. There's a blue raise hand. There's a green yes check mark. There's a red no X. There's a go slower, a go faster. And then when you click on the triple dots, it will open up more. So whenever you see ... that means there's going to be more in that sub menu. And there you can see thumbs down, thumbs up, clapping, gone away for a cup of coffee, taking a break clock. Those things are available as icons to show. All right, so those are different icons. And I want to know if you can notice any icons on the screen example that I've shown? Do you see something? Okay, so here you can see Carrie L has put up a yes icon. And you can see when you do that, it's a toggle, so it'll be on and off. And if you look at someone's video, if you look at somebody's video screen, then you can see whether they've put up anything, because it'll appear in the corner. Here's the upper left corner. And in this example, Claudia has put up a blue hand, raised her hand. Do you see that? Okay, so let's see if you guys can use a one of those icons. I'll ask you if you know how to use the icons, and you can say yes or no. Does this show you how to use the icons? And when I go to my participants list, I should be able to see something, some icons. Let's see. Now I'm going away from my PowerPoint, and instead I'm going to go and look and see if anybody has put an icon. So some of you have chosen, oh, a lot of people, I see a lot of green yeses, and I have a couple of people with a thumbs up, and I have some people with other icons here. Okay, and somebody's gone for a cup of coffee. Okay, Karen. All righty. Some people are clapping. Good. All right, so that's a place where you can put your answer. Because so as a teacher, you could also ask questions, and if it's a yes/no question, then your students can show their response by the green or the red, and then you can ask them to clear it. So how do you clear it? I think you just click on it.
Minimize.
Okay, so that's one of the things that you do for nonverbal responses. I think you all know how to do the chat because you've already written in the chat. But you'll need to know how to teach your students to do this. So one of the things they have to do is they have to find the chat panel, right? So if you click on the chat icon, which is looking like a speech bubble, that will open the chat box, and it may go into the middle of the screen, or it may go off to the right and get stuck there, which is kind of a nice thing because then it won't obscure the video stuff. So you can chat in the chat down at the base, and then the chat window can display your whatever you have entered in writing. One thing to remember is that you should select to send to everyone, or you can choose one person for a private chat. And then you type your message and click send. And sometimes you end up sending to the wrong person, and you go like, oops, I'll try that again, because it will say, Marcia Chan sent to so-and-so. So for example, I wanted to send you the Google Doc link, and I sent it out to Sylvia, my friend Sylvia Ortega, and I realized, oh, nobody else will be able to see it. So I had to go back in again and click the little toggle and get everyone, and then it went out to everyone. So that's something that you should know about when you're doing chat, and perhaps your students would be, it would be good for them to know as well. All right, so you know how to use the chat. So we'll go on about saving the chat. So sometimes you want to save the chat to your computer because it has some ideas, or people have shared things that you want to keep. So before the meeting ends, you and your students can go to the bottom right and click the dot, 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 and save the chat. So what will this do? It'll save your chat to your documents, to your Zoom folder with the meeting name, date, and time. So it goes into the Zoom folder. Now, where's the Zoom folder? Now, on a Mac, it's simply in your huge documents folder. So Z is very easy. You just go down to the end of the alphabet, and there's your Zoom folder. And then inside the Zoom folder, it will have each meeting by date. So it's easy to find. and it will be attached, or it will be saved into the folder for the date that you saved it from. So if you do that today, it should show today's date. All right, now we already had our first breakout, so that's great, and we know about joining the breakout room. Someone had trouble joining the breakout room, but she didn't have the app, and so she could go away and get the app. So hopefully that will cure the problem. The other thing is, sometimes, I just want to say that sometimes windows or on your computer screen cover up another. So sometimes you just have to separate them apart and glue them, and sometimes you will find what you were looking for. So try that one too. All right, so now let's talk about what happens when we see things on an iPhone. So today when we did our poll, no one was using a phone, but you know that our students use phones. So it's a good idea for you to try this on your own phone. Download the app for either your Android or your iPhone, and this is what it looks like as I took pictures from my iPhone. So on the iPhone, to do chat, I had to look up ... the more, and from there I was able to click chat, and then from that, after chat, then I got a screen that looks like this. And of course, as you know, on the phone the keyboard is very small, but in any case, you do your thing with your little thumb like so, and then your message appears here. And again, you'll want to see whether you send to everyone or send just to the teacher or send to your friend. Then you will choose it there. Click the send button, and as soon as you do that, then it will appear, your message will appear up here in the chat window. In order to go to a breakout on a phone, you'll get a message where it says the host is inviting you to join a breakout room. It's very similar to what you see on a computer, so that should not be too confusing. It'll come right in the middle of your screen, and then you'll just say, okay, join, and you'll get to join a group. Now, to join the meeting from a phone, like if you're just joining the meeting from a phone, then you can do it, you either click on a link that you are getting from your email or your text menu, and you can click it and go directly there, or sometimes you will have to enter the ID of the meeting and the password of the meeting. So it depends on how the message is sent to you. So if this is how it looks on an iPhone to join a meeting, it's a little bit different looking, but the action is pretty similar. Now, if you have to enter the meeting number and click the join, then that's an option you have. But before you do that, there's the option to turn on or off your video. Now, when you're on your phone, if you're in Wi-Fi, then maybe you don't have much to worry about, except for the battery in your phone. But maybe you're working off of your cellular data, in which case you may want to save your cellular data and not use your video so much, because video takes a big bandwidth. So text is like little, and voice is like bigger, and video is like huge. It takes up a lot of bandwidth. So students who are using their phones may wish to turn off their video. You too, if this is something that's going to cause them a lot of trouble electronically, you know, in terms of transfer of data, or economically in terms of the data that they have to pay for. Okay, so turning off the video and renaming from an iPhone, similar but not exactly the same. Here's the button, turn off my video. And here, when you enter the name, you can do the name right here, rename it, and click done to make sure that the name is according to what you would like others to see. Starting audio and video from an iPhone, similar to the main screen on a computer. Lower left will show you the audio and video icons, except for a little bit different. Instead of showing you a microphone, it shows you headphones on the iPhone. It's basically the same. And the video icon looks pretty much the same. Again, if it's a slash, that means that the device is off. You'll also have an option, just as you did when you came in today probably, to use the internet audio or to dial in. Sometimes if you are in a place where it's a little bit sketchy in terms of transmission, from like if you're trying to do something from Wi-Fi and you're not able to, your audio streaming is not very good, you may need to use the telephone service to audio in. And that is a workaround that we have found sometimes useful. Probably Elisa knows about that. Okay, so what about the picture here? If it looks like this nobody icon, that means the host is not yet in the meeting. And so if you're waiting, this is what it'll look like until the person who's hosting the meeting turns on their, starts the meeting and then turns on their audio and video. Okay, so what about you as a host? So if you get set up, again, you need to create, go to the zoom.us, right? And some of you may already have a login through your college. Any of you have college logins? Okay, I see a bunch of heads going like this. And then you're all set up, so that's cool. If you don't, then you can sign up for an account through zoom.us. You'll want to go to your profile, and here are some things that you should consider. Insert your photo, because as a teacher, you'll want to make sure the students can recognize you. Insert a photo by clicking there to, and then uploading something that you have on your computer. You may want to edit your photo so it's the right size and shape. It's gonna be a square, okay? And some of your photos are like your whole body and you probably don't need that. So you could, you know, cut it down, crop the picture first before you bring it in here. You have to learn how to schedule your own meetings, okay? So schedule a meeting, schedule a new meeting from this profile. Then you will figure out, oh, what else do I need to put there? You want to enter your topic or your class name. You may enter a description, but it's not required. You also have to enter the time, duration, and time zone of your meeting. And entering the time zone is a good thing. Probably if you're in Pacific, it'll stay that way unless you travel. Duration, for example, if it's an hour or so. Some of your meetings will be recurring, like you'll have a class every Tuesday from 9 to 10:30, then you can put recurring meeting. All right, now, is registration required or not? That may have something to do with how your school wants to do it. Do you want it to generate a meeting ID automatically, or do you want to use a personal meeting? So what's the difference? Every account has a number, account number. If I use personal meeting ID, then that means my students will always know whenever they want to come to my class, then they can enter this personal ID meeting, and then for them it'll be like the same place, the same room, the same class that they're going to on a weekly basis. If you do generate automatically, then there will be another digitally, automatically configured number that goes out, and every week you have to send them a message with that link. That is a little bit, that is definitely more secure, because that means that the personal meeting is not going around and everybody knows that and can use it. Whereas a generated automatically, that's going to change every time. So one of the things that a lot of schools have required is that they have to be done automatically in order for students to log in, just to cut down on the Zoom bombing and that sort of not so pleasant behavior. Okay, so another thing is you can require a password or not. And then you can also determine whether your video as a host goes on, can be used, and whether participants can use video, right? So probably you'll have those both on, unless you're planning to give a class to many, 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 many students and you don't want their videos on, ever, and you're just going to be in a more of a lecture mode, or a mode where they can interact maybe by text and voice, but not by video. So you can choose that. Audio, I like to choose both so that they can choose whether or not to use their phone or their computer audio. So that's a choice, that's option. There are also meeting options. Enable join before host means that the students can come in the room before you do. Now, when I organize family meetings, I let that happen because, you know, they all know each other and they can go blah, blah, blah without me being there. That's fine with me. But you may wish that your students wait for you until you actually arrive. Another thing you can do is to mute the participants upon entry. So that means their microphone will always be off until you ask them to turn it on. Enable waiting room is another way that Zoom has started to create, or that, you know, a couple months ago, create more security so that when people come, they have to wait in the room first, and then the host, you, the teacher, you let them in one by one or group by group. And some schools have set up their system so that's the only way that the classes can be given. But if you're using your personal room, then you can determine either way. Breakout rooms pre-assign. If you know all of your students and you know what groups you want to put them in, you can make assignments beforehand. Otherwise, I'll show you how to do them randomly. Record the meetings automatically. You can choose that as an option or not. And different schools have different rules about recording. So you should probably check in with your school to find out whether there's any, whatever protocols are. Let's see. Let's take a look at another part of the screen, because the settings are quite long, and there's some of them that you need to pay more attention to than the others, I think. So how about the video? This one allows start with videos for hosts and participants. So you have to decide whether it's okay for participants' videos to start right away. In my case, yes, I let everybody's video show up, but you may wish to have no videos until, boom, until you say, class has now started, or now we'll turn on videos. Same thing with your participants. So this is allowing participants to join before the host. That's an option for you. There are a few more other options, but those are ones I think are key for teachers. Let's see. Other options are whether you want to allow chat to all, and I think that's a really good thing when you're teaching a language. You can allow private chat. That means that students can talk to each other, or not. If you think they're too chatty and too disorganized or distracted, you may want to turn that off. Auto-save chats will automatically save the chat to your computer, and that's kind of handy because you may forget at the end of the lesson that you wanted to do that. Play a sound when people join or leave. So I think you have heard when people ding, 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 they've been coming in. Allow file transfer. That's good if you would like to show a document and send it to them through the chat. Allow a co-host. You may do that when you're doing a meeting, a presentation, and or a kind of a situation where two or more people should have equal control over setting up break rooms and so forth. Allow polling, which I did for this session, and allow host to put attendee on hold. I have never done that before, and I've never felt like I wanted to muzzle anybody, but I guess you could do that. Let's see, what else? Screen sharing, yeah, allow screen sharing. You can choose that it's for the host only, that's for the teacher, or for all participants. So a lot of you, it seemed, are teaching adults and college students, and so I would say to leave it on so that participants can share screens, and of course you might want to teach them how to do that. Allow annotation. So when we get to the whiteboard part, you can do annotations and drawings on it. Allow the whiteboard, allow remote control, allow nonverbal feedback, which we looked at, breakout rooms. So these are things I think would be helpful to have on. Now, how about share screen? So some of you had questions about what do we do when we do share screen? So in the center on the bottom bar, do you see the green? Now I'm sharing, right? But if you want to share as a participant, then you will have to ask permission to share, and I will grant you permission by going into my stop share. So I have right now I have something that says you are screen sharing, and then I can click the red stop share. And when I click the red stop share, then it will allow me to give the sharing permission to someone else. Now, what can I share? I can share a number of things. I can share any application that is open. So what does that mean? Suppose I have a PowerPoint. Oh, in fact, that's what I'm sharing right now. So what I did was I clicked my screen share, and then I browsed to this one that was my PowerPoint presentation. I selected that, and then it shared what is showing from my PowerPoint screen, but it's not sharing from any other screen. So I also have other screens or other apps open on my desktop. For example, remember when I shared the Google Doc to you? So when I shared that, I selected the Google Doc responses in order to show them to you. So each time I share, I can share a different app, or I can share my entire screen. So if I share my entire screen, what will you see? You will see all the junk that I have on my screen, or what's showing, and it'll also show my Zoom window, which is kind of silly to show you what I'm showing you already. So that's why I don't usually show my entire screen. I show the app that I want you to focus on at this moment, okay? You can do whatever you want. You can show everything if you wish, but you can also share, I'm not gonna talk to you a whole much about, but you can also plug in external devices and have your phone in there, and you can plug in your iPad, and you can plug in cameras and all sorts of other things. That's more advanced. So we're not doing that today. The other thing that you can share is the whiteboard. And that's something that everybody, you and your participants can scribble on. You can also share a video. So if you want to share a video, then you will go to, let's say I want to show one of my YouTube channel thingies on pronunciation, right? So I would go to that screen, and I would make sure that share computer sound is on, so that you can hear the sound from that video directly, and not through my computer outside into the microphone as I'm talking to you. It'll go more directly, and you'll hear crisper and more, you'll hear the original sound. All right, so I'm gonna stop sharing my PowerPoint, and I'm gonna start sharing, let's see, what shall I share next? I will go back to share the Google Chrome. Okay, so I was in Google Chrome because I wanted to share with you the responses in my Google Doc. Remember that? So those are two different kinds of share. Now, when I stop sharing and somebody else wants to share, then I can go to my share screen because I'm the host. I have well, in this case, it's not a drop down arrow, it's a drop up arrow, a jump up arrow. And then I can go to something called advanced sharing, and I can say, instead of only the host can share, all participants can share. And you have the option to say a lot of people can share at once, or multiple people, or one participant can share at a time. So I prefer that one shares at a time, so we can focus on that one person's sharing. And also, it is something that you can decide whether somebody can grab the screen or not. So there's a question, who can share? Who can start sharing when someone else is sharing? Only the host? Or can all participants just grab the share screen and share? So you have the option to let people do that. Now let's see if there's anybody here who would like to share a screen so we can just see what it's like. Who wants to do that? Is somebody feeling shy? You don't have to feel shy. It's time for you to try it if you'd like. Sheila wants to share, right? Okay, tell us what you're sharing. Well, your microphone is off, so we can't hear what you're saying, but if you press your unmute so that you can speak to us, we can hear what you're saying. At the moment, we don't hear anything. Would you like to tell us something? Maybe not. Okay, Sheila is being very silent. So is there somebody else who would like to share? Who else would like to share? Go ahead and press your share screen, turn on your mic, and just say a word about what you're sharing. Okay, turn on your mic.
Hi,
Who's that?
it's Cindy. I just shared the whiteboard.
Hello, Cindy. Yes, that is a whiteboard.
Can other people draw on it? Yep. Oh, someone else is drawing on it.
Yes, we are enabled.
Okay.
Okay, great. Thank you. Who else wants to share?
I'll share, Marcia. This is Innocencia.
Okay, Innocencia, let's see what you got.
Oops, I forgot to do the video, the sound. So I had to share it. Can you see this?
Yes. I see it.
Of course, it just ended. This is a video.
Okay, now I can hear it.
This craziness all started out on spring break.
Okay, thank you for sharing. And now you have an example of sharing a video. Who else wants to share? Give it a try. It's your turn.
Okay, I will try to share. This is Christina.
Okay, what are you going to share?
Let's see. I'm sharing my sound effects output input.
Green. Okay. All right. We're seeing your sound prefs, and we see that your sound is working.
Yeah, looks like it works.
Okay, works. Everything's doing fine. Okay, one more share. Don't be shy. Here's your chance. Do we have some shy folks here? Aha, we get to see, looks like a document, a Word doc, right? Okay.
I couldn't find my mute button, so it didn't work.
Well, I saw the doc, so that's cool. I'm gonna share with you a picture of some of my tomatoes.
Oh,
I have a garden full of gorgeously beautiful maroony purplish tomatoes that are so yum, yum, yummy. So yum, yum, yummy. All right, so you can share a lot of different things, from audio to video to documents to write in and pictures to talk about. So this is a really useful feature. So here we are looking at Cicero and Miss Claire. All right, we're looking at a Word doc. Okay, thank you. All right, so ending our group screen share, and let me go to my screens to show you something else. Unless you disallow share screen to all participants in settings, your students can share from their computers, like you were doing. And I do it so that only one person can share I think it would be kind of crazy if more than one, but maybe that's because I haven't tried it yet. So if a student clicks on the share screen unintentionally or for any other reason, you can stop it by simply clicking share screen on your own computer, and it will return to your sharing. Okay, so that may happen because the students have shared something irrelevant or inappropriate, or they just made a boo-boo. They didn't know, they're just pressing buttons, and you know, like stuff happens and they didn't know that they ended up putting their mouse on a thing that said share screen, and then it went to their computer. So well, for any of those reasons, you may want to just grab it back by clicking on share screen. Okay, so what about the annotation tools in screen sharing? We did see the whiteboard that was shared with us, and we can look at the top of your screen, and do you see annotate? Do you see the word annotate? So if you click on that, it should bring up a bar that looks like this. Do you see? There's a mouse that will deactivate annotation tools, and it will switch to your mouse pointer. There's a big T, which means that you can insert text. There's a drawing symbol where you can insert lines and arrows and shapes. There's a spotlight, which can turn your cursor into a spotlight or an arrow. There's an eraser. There's a formatting, which will let you do different colors, fonts, and line widths. What else do we have? There's undo and redo, and there's deleting the annotations by clearing everything. And then of course the last one is the save button. All right, so if you are in a screen where you can annotate, can you annotate on my screen now? I'm not sure. Let's see, if I stop this share and I share a whiteboard, then you can practice with that. There's also a select tool, so I can select somebody's thing and move it around. I can select somebody's, oh, I took a heart away. See, so there's that as well. Is that fun? Okay, I'm going to bring you back to what else there is to learn about these things. I want to show you how the host and participant toolbars look, because they aren't exactly the same. And the thing is, you can't show your toolbar to anybody when you are in it. So do you see any differences between the host and the participant?
Closed caption.
Invite and manage participants.
Yep. Okay. So what's really good that's the same, but a little bit different position is the chat. You're going to use that a lot. Why? Because it's good for engaging students. For example, for a general illicit question, where's the ball? Or an individual question, write a sentence using the word between. For typing a comment or a question while allowing the class to listen to you, the students can be typing in the chat. So it's good to show them how to use that. All depends on how, like how literate the students are and what their facility is with using different windows at the same time. So what's different is, of course, you've got the breakout rooms, right? So this is essential for the pair and small group work, listening, speaking, reading, writing, discussions and projects, creating groups. We did the groups randomly, and you can also do them manually, but it takes time. If you have to know all of your students in advance before you can before you can set up classes before class begins, set up groups before class begins. But you could also manually move people around, like if you think there are too many people in this group and you want to drag somebody into another group, you can do that in the system that in the method that I was using, where I started everybody out in random groups. Now, one of the things is that another thing that's on here is it says closed caption. If you have closed caption on your screen, that means that you can request through your college, if you're working with university or college, to have a person listen to every word that you say and type it out for someone who needs that. But that has to be asked. You don't have to make that. You have to make that kind of a request in advance, and that way, you know, they can set somebody up to meet during your particular class time. Now, what are some considerations for the mic and video on and off? All participants' microphones and videos can create a sense of community, so if you have them all on, then that can be a positive thing that happens. Now, all participants' microphones can also hamper listening environments because every cough, sneeze, slurp, side conversations, dogs barking, airplanes going by, thump, thump, thump down the stairs, those can be heard much more than you think, because our ears can listen selectively and we can tune out certain types of sounds that we don't want to hear, but the computer doesn't. So the computer catches everything. So that's why sometimes you need to have mics muted in order to have a better atmosphere for everyone to listen and hear. And then of course we have the problem with internet connection. So it depends on where you are. I'm in Silicon Valley, so I mean, like, I've got really great internet, but I know that there are many situations, many places where it's a lot more difficult. And I also have been with my laptop in a place other than home where the transmission was very difficult. So poor connection is another reason why having those things off may be useful. Let's see. Video, as I mentioned before, requires much greater bandwidth. And so it could, you know, it may slow down, it may lag, and of course it may cost your users paying for data transfer. So that might be a reason for them to turn off their cameras. And a place where they have really good support, I mean, I think Zoom has really good tutorials and videos. When you go to Zoom.us or support.zoom.us, you can find a lot of information that's pretty easy to understand. Also, when you are in your own user and you go to meetings, then you can also see at the bottom a place where you can click to attend live training and go to video tutorials and go to their general knowledge base. So those are some places where you can go. Well, I've done a lot of talking and you've done some interaction. I want to thank you very much for your patience and your participation, and encourage you to look at CATESOL.org for more professional development events. And I'm open to questions. So if you have any questions, one of the things that you should do now is to turn on your microphone so we might hear it, hear your question, and I'll try my best to respond.
Hi, Marcia. Let me turn on my camera. Hi, I'm Eliana. I have a quick question for you. I really thought the whiteboard thingy was super useful. I teach beginning level students. Can they use the whiteboard while in the breakout rooms?
In the breakout rooms. I think the answer is yes, if you have given them the permission to do screen share screen.
Thank you.
Who else has a question? Oh, we've left with all the people who have all the answers. If you have a question or a comment or a suggestion, I'm open to hearing.
I have a super basic question, Marcia.
Oh, is that Ellen?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I'm not hearing you very loudly.
Are you using two videos screens to show both the PowerPoint and then yourself?
Am I using two screens to show? No, I'm not. I have one screen. I'm using an iMac. I'm using one screen. When I was showing my PowerPoint, here, let me show it again just to demonstrate. when I was showing my PowerPoint, instead of showing you in presentation view, which would fill up my entire screen,
right,
I chose to show it in edit view. And in edit view, you see I can have everything big or small. And so after I designed the whole presentation, I just made that part small. And then also I can change the size of the window that's being used to show. Like, do you see right now it's the PowerPoint slide is small?
Yeah.
Okay, so when I resize my share window to make it as small as the slide, it probably looks to you as if the slide is getting bigger.
Yes.
Does that happen?
Yes.
Because it takes up less real estate on my Mac screen, but you can see it just as big. So I care about what you can see. So if I make my slide smaller, you can see the slide at the bottom right, where's the zoom bar, you know, you can make it, I keep going minus, minus, minus.
50%, yeah.
Right. So right now it shows 50%. And if I squeeze it, you know, I don't want to do this in edit view, but when I'm showing it to you, and as I squeeze my share window down, it appears that my slide is getting bigger to you.
Right.
Right? So now it's completely big, and I can resize a number of these things. So in that way, I can have a little bit more space on my desktop to look at stuff. However, let me tell you, when I start sharing my PowerPoint presentation, then I'm not able to see that whole as much in my gallery view of all of you folks out there, right? So I have to manage my windows. And so what I did was I particularly like to put my PowerPoint on the left side, and then I put my Zoom stuff on the right side. I mean, you can do whatever way you want. And that way, if I want to see all of you folks and I put you on gallery view, then I'm able to see, you know, who all's participating in the class today.
Marcia, would you mind showing it to us in presentation mode just for a second so we can see on the user end how that's
okay,
different?
So I'm going to press presentation mode, and it probably looks just almost the same. You just don't see the editing stuff on the left, right? So what happens to me on my screen is it fills up my entire screen. So then I can't start looking for all of the other things like the Google Docs in my Chrome window and the photograph of my tomatoes and, you know, those other things.
And your
I
students
can't
are all
see
missing
them now
yeah.
because all of it is taken up by this screen.
Got it.
Okay?
Thank you.
So one of the things that I love to do when I use PowerPoint in real life is do animations. And I don't do them when I'm doing an online presentation because I don't want to do the presentation taking up the whole screen because I still want to be able to see you guys and all the other stuff that's on my desktop. Now you may be able to do that and find that, you know, you want to do that and it's just fine. But that's one of the things that I've done. Another reason for leaving your PowerPoint in edit mode is if you want to take suggestions or comments from your class and enter them into the PowerPoint, you can do it just there, right? So it's like a living editable document. So that's another benefit of doing it in that way. Does that make sense?
I have a question.
Yes.
So you've shown us PowerPoints through screen share, but couldn't we also do slides through Google Slides?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
What are the advantages or disadvantages of those?
Oh, nothing at all. There's no Okay, I'll give you an example. All right, so I'm going to show you what happens if I want to show you something that is on Google. I've got loads of things all over, right? Okay, so let me show you my Google Chrome. Okay, so I'm going to show you let's see, I'm screen sharing. What am I screen sharing? I should be able to tell this by a green border. What are you seeing? Tell me what you're seeing.
You're sharing everything, the whole screen.
Okay, so I'm sharing my entire screen. So you're seeing you're seeing the gallery view. So I clicked on the whole thing. So I'm going to do, yeah, okay. That's when I just shared with you my entire screen. So you saw the Zoom stuff and you saw the Google Chrome, the Chrome window. Okay, so here's my Chrome window, right? And if I want to show you anything in slides, let's say I will just go to show presentations. All right, and it'll bring up a whole bunch of different presentations that I've done, right? So here's one. I'll just show you this one. So here's a presentation, right? And I can resize the window. And I can show you in the same way. This is how you log in and do all this stuff on Memberly. So it's the same. If you like to program in Google Slides or PowerPoint, it really makes no difference when it comes to showing it to your students. This is the same.
You're still using screen share.
I'm using screen share, exactly.
Is
that your question?
Well, I was wondering if it would work to have the students access a Google Slides.
Oh, of course, yeah.
And then talk to them, but they would have to forward through the slides, correct?
Yes, so if you give students the access to this, then they can also work with it in their group. All right, now let's say, okay, let me just show, I'm going to show you what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to show you what I'm doing right now. I'm going to go to, all right, so here I am in this, and I'll say, okay, go to your group, and you're going to be looking at something. So here I am copying a link, right? So it says anyone on the internet with this link can view it. All right, so I can do this. Then what do I do next? I need to go to my chat window. And when I go to chat, I can say, send chat to everyone in the meeting. And then you'll receive that. And when you click on it, you will also be able to play my slideshow. And if you're in groups, then that link still appears in your chat window and you can see it and talk about it, right?
You have to open the document though before you go into the breakout rooms, I think.
Right, so it's a good idea to give the link before you send the group into breakouts. So if you do that beforehand, then it'll stay with them when they go into the breakouts. If you forget to do it, then you have to go in each breakout and go like, oh, for you and for you, for you, for every group, you have to do that. And I've done that before because I've forgotten. So that's a good thing to remember, is to give the links first. Now, whether you want them to create or edit the slides or just view them is up to you. And you have to, you know, that's a Google thing where you have to decide how you're going to share that to view it only, or if you want your students to edit it. Okay, so right now, the thing I'd like to do is to show you some upcoming events. We've got these upcoming events that you can always see on CATESOL.org. I'm doing another one on Friday for low-tech learners. And it's a role play kind of a thing. There's a link to a Google Doc, which I'd like you to look at and prepare for before you come at I think it's, oh yeah, 3 p.m. Saturday is a mini conference where there are going to be 3 workshops. This is an event put on by Orange County chapter. And in a week, the Los Padres chapter is putting on an event where they gather together and they debrief about the events or the workshops that were given the previous week. The next one I'm doing on intonation is on the 22nd. If you are looking for or know somebody who is deserving of an award, there are a number of awards that are still available for applications. You can apply yourself or you can nominate someone. There's, yeah, so that was extended. It was originally August 1st, but August 23rd is the new deadline for certain ones. There's a K-12 level meeting for life-work balance. Teaching pronunciation with my co-coordinator, Jadine Elvin, will be on September 4th. Then, of course, we have the state conference, which I hope all of you will attend. And maybe some of you will put in proposals to present something at this event. All right, I think you've been very, very patient, and I'd like to.
Marcia, do you have time to answer one more question?
One more question. All right.
It's actually just some advice. Can you recommend any videos intended for the ESL learner to familiarize themselves with Zoom? I was going to create something for them, but surely I'm not the first teacher to have thought of that. Do you know of anything that I could show my students?
Let's ask the group here. Do any of you have any videos that will help learners of English become familiar with Zoom? Oh, it sounds like something that someone should make.
I've gone on YouTube, but everything is too high level for my beginning level students. So I think I'll just have to create something myself.
Well, if you do, share it with us. If I do, I will share it with you. How does that sound?
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, I'd like to let everyone say goodbye and farewell, and hope you do well with your Zooming. Thank you very much for participating, and good luck. Stay home and stay well. Stay healthy.
Can we get your PowerPoint? Marcia? Oh, okay, screw it. So long, everyone.